Tomorrow's a big day for me. Tomorrow I'm announcing that I'm going to be self-publishing Wilshire Boulevard. And to tell you the truth, I am full of fear. You see, I'm self-publishing Wilshire Boulevard. And that's a first for me because I published other novels, but always with big publishing houses like Random House and Putnam's and St. Martin's Press. This is the first time that I'm going to be going on my own. And I'm very afraid of failure. But see, my self-publishing adventure is not the issue of this video. It's something quite different. It was sparked by this adventure that I'm about to undertake. But there's a point here. See this novel, Wilshire Boulevard, right? I tried to publish it back in 2016. And I failed. I failed because, well, the novel was politically incorrect, shall we say, okay? And because of that, you know, I felt like a failure, like a loser. The first time ever that a novel I'd written had not been published. I felt flabbergasted. And tail between my legs, I just retreated from the whole publishing thing. And insofar as the novel is concerned, see, I just took it and put it in a bottom drawer. I put it in a bottom drawer and sort of tried to forget about it. I knew all about self-publishing and all the rest of it, but I had no intention of going through the self-publishing route because I was afraid of failure. I was afraid that if I tried to self-publish the book, I'd fail and look like a fool. And so I kept the manuscript in that bottom drawer and went on with my life. But see, what happened was that, as I got a little bit older, I mean, this happened in 2016, right? As I got just a little bit older, I'm about to turn 51 now. My fear of failing at self-publishing began to diminish. Or actually, no, it didn't diminish. It stayed the same. But what increased was my fear of regret. Regret is one of the most awful feelings that you can ever have. That feeling that you had an opportunity, and instead of marshaling your courage and grabbing that opportunity, grabbing it with both hands, you let it just slip away through your fingers. How many times have you been at some party and there's some girl and she's gorgeous? She's gorgeous and she's standing all alone there. Nobody's talking to her. And you're there holding your drink and all you have to do is walk, 2-3 yards to her and just say, "Hi. How you doing?" That's all you need to do. But instead of doing that, what do? You stand there. You stand there and don't approach her. You stand there with your drink, your head bobbing to the music, and every so often looking at her, glancing at her, surreptitiously, drinking your drink, and did she notice me? She's so hot. Oh, I could go up to there. Ah! How many times has that happened to you? How many times were you waking up the morning after and saying, "Why didn't I talk to that girl?" Or "Why didn't I take a chance and start that business?" See, the regrets that you have are missed opportunities. It's a missed opportunity, and regret is that feeling that you know that opportunity, that particular opportunity, well, it'll never come your way again. And it's very different from the fear of failure, Because when you fail at something, it feels shitty, of course, but you feel no regret. Of course not. You don't feel any regret because you tried. You tried and failed. There was that girl at the party and she was really hot. You went up to her and you said, "How you doing?" in your sexiest voice, and she just looked at you with contempt and walked away. Well, of course, do you feel good about that? No, of course not. You feel shitty about it. But you don't feel regret. You went and grabbed that opportunity. You went up to the girl and tried to talk to her and she blew you off. You feel awful, but you know that you tried. Regret is far worse than failure. Because see, with regret, you're always going to be wondering, could I have succeeded? Would she have given me her number? Would she have maybe gone home with me that very night? You'll never know. See? Because it could be that if you'd gone up to her, she would have blown you off. Or it could be that if you'd gone up to her, you would have discovered the love of your life. And you'll never know which it was. That is the awfulness of regret. Because with failure, well, you know what happened. You failed. Big fucking deal. You're going to fail plenty of times. I've failed plenty of times. I mean, so many times I can't even count in my head how many times I've failed, right? But regrets, thank God, thank everything holy and good in this world, I have so few regrets. You know which one is the biggest regret I ever had? A girl named Macarena. Like the song. She was gorgeous. She had like long, curly brown hair. I mean, like in these little like spiral curls, natural, right? And she had these blue eyes. I mean, they were so blue. I mean, it was just like the color of the sky, right? And she had like skin that was just so silky smooth, and she had just an incredible body, and she was like right my height, you know. She's like 5'8" or so, you know, just like not quite model height, but just she's just perfect. She was so gorgeous. She was this girl in high school, yeah, my senior year. This is like 85, yeah, 1985, right? She was smoking hot. I mean, she was so gorgeous, right? And I pined after her every day, and she'd pass me by in the halls, and, you know, I'd be like, oh, what's that incredible smell? Ah! It was the smell of my desperation and stupidity. Because here I am, 34 fucking years later, and I still regret that I didn't talk to her. Not once, the whole fucking year. And I didn't once talk to her. I pined after her every fucking day of my senior year. And not once did I work up the nerve to talk to her. Now I want to kill myself, of course, you know, because who knows what could have happened. More likely than not, I might have dated her and it would have fizzled out. That's the most likely scenario. But see, I'll never know. The regret of not having dated Macarena is still with me 35 fucking years later. And see, it's because of a function of age. Because see, when you're young, right, you allow your fear of failure to dominate you because you feel that you have your whole life ahead of you. You're in your early 20s, say, right? And you meet some girl and you succumb to your fear of failure with her and don't go up to her, right? And you're thinking to yourself, well, it doesn't matter. I mean, there are plenty of fish in the sea. You know, I'm 20, right? How many decades ahead of me do I have, right? I've got my 20s, my 30s, my 40s even, maybe even my 50s. I mean, this fucking coach, right, he's an old man and he's still bagging them, right? So, you know, I got plenty of time. I got plenty of opportunities. And because you think that you have plenty of opportunities, you succumb to your fear of failure and not grab the opportunities that are right in front of you. And of course, it's not just your opportunities with women. It's your opportunities in your career, in your business, in all sorts of things. In things that you have to control your fear of failure and just dive in. You have to make the effort, especially when you're young, because you see, if you succumb to your fear of failure, then you get used to it. If you don't go up to the hot girl and instead just like say, oh, you know, whatever, and I'm not going to do it, and maybe next time, right? If you succumb to that fear, then the next time it becomes easier to succumb to that fear. And that goes for everything important in your life. Women, careers, friendships, adventures in your life that you will have. Every time you succumb to your fear of failure, you make it easier to succumb the next time. And so your life diminishes. It becomes smaller. You see what I mean? And that's a horrible thing. Imagine you are 70 years old. And like right now you're in your 20s, your teens, or maybe your early 30s, somewhere around that age, right? But imagine yourself, picture yourself at age 70. You know, 3, 4, 5 decades ahead of you, right? Imagine you're 70 and you're a virgin and you're flat broke because you never took any chances in your career or your business opportunities, right? You always succumb to your fear of failure. What kind of a life do you think you're going to be having? Huh? You're a 70-year-old virgin who's broke, living on the charity of strangers. Maybe the state is sending you some shekels, right, to pay for the heat or whatever, right? You're eating cat food because that's all you can afford. What kind of a life is that, huh? Is that the life you want? Do you want to be a 70-year-old virgin who has nothing to his name except regrets? Is that the life you really want? See, I was very afraid of self-publishing Wilshire Boulevard. But what happened as the manuscript just sat there in my bottom drawer, the regret started to grow more and more in my heart. I started thinking to myself, what am I doing? I'm just going to allow this manuscript, this book, which I think is very good, I'm just going to leave it there. I'm so afraid of failing. I'm so afraid of diving into the pool of self-publishing that I can't stand failure? Is that it? Am I that big of a loser? And that's when my fear of regret started kicking in. I started thinking to myself, I'm going to turn 51 pretty soon now, right? And what happens if I drop dead of a heart attack, next year or whatever the fuck, right? What happens if I get run over by a truck? What happens if I just grow old and leave the manuscript there in my bottom drawer and never try to do anything with it? Huh? And the more I thought about it, the more regretful I became. And the more I thought, it's stupid. Because what's the worst that can happen? I fail. I put out the novel and everybody says it's shit and nobody wants to buy it. That's the worst that can happen, right? And am I gonna like that? Fuck no, I'm not gonna like it. But at least I'll know. With regret, you never know. And that's something I couldn't live with, and that's why I'm diving into the pool. And whatever it is that you're afraid of failing in, do it. Do it. Trust me. It's not that I'm smarter. How many times do I have to tell you guys? It's not that I am smarter than you. I've lived longer. And that's why I know more. And I'll tell you right now that failure, bad as it is like nothing compared to regret. It's the reason that 35 years later, I'm still regretting that I didn't talk to a girl called Macarena.